The first day at a new school was always hard, but for the new girl, it felt like stepping into a completely different world. She had moved from another city, leaving behind familiar streets, friends she had grown up with, in a place that felt like home. Everything here was different. The buildings were taller, the hallways felt endless, and the students seemed to have already formed their groups and patterns. As she walked through the front doors, she felt every pair of eyes on her. Some were curious, some indifferent, and a few seemed to look at her with the kind of suspicion that made her stomach twist. She carried her backpack tightly, its straps digging into her shoulders. She was wearing her favorite outfit, something she thought made her feel confident, but the thought of standing out made her nervous. She reminded herself to breathe and keep her head high. "You can do this," she whispered silently to herself. She glanced around, trying to find someone friendly, someone who might say hi and make this day a little less intimidating. But the faces she saw were strangers, some whispering to each other and pointing subtly in her direction. It didn't take long for her to notice the popular girl of the school. She stood near the lockers, chatting and laughing with her friends, her presence commanding the attention of nearly everyone around. She had a sharp smile, and there was a certain confidence in the way she moved. The new girl watched for a moment, trying to gauge if this girl would be friendly or not. It was clear quickly that she had a reputation. The whispers she had heard in the morning from other students about who ruled the social scene confirmed it. As the day went on, the new girl tried to blend in. She joined her first class, keeping her answers short and polite, not wanting to draw attention. She noticed students glancing her way, some smiling, some raising their eyebrows, and some whispering. She could feel the weight of being the outsider, the new person who didn't yet know the rules or the rhythms of this place. It made her feel small, but she also knew that she had to stay strong. Lunch was the hardest part. The cafeteria was a huge space, buzzing with noise and laughter, filled with the smell of food that was both familiar and strange. She held her tray, scanning for a place to sit. Every table seemed to already have its group, laughing and talking in ways that made her feel invisible. She hesitated, unsure where to go. She noticed some students waving her over, but they quickly turned back to their conversations before she could respond. She took a deep breath and decided to walk towards a quieter corner, hoping to find a space where she could at least sit without feeling completely out of place. It was then that the popular girl noticed her. She tilted her head slightly, a smirk forming on her lips. The new girl felt the eyes on her, the kind that made her stomach drop. She tried to walk past casually, but it was impossible to ignore the attention. The popular girl called out something loud enough for a few people nearby to hear. The new girl froze for a moment, unsure if she should respond or just keep walking. The popular girl's friends noticed her reaction and started whispering and laughing quietly. It was subtle, but it was enough to make the new girl feel like she had become the target of a trap she hadn't even seen coming. She felt a flash of fear, her mind racing. She wanted to disappear, to be anywhere but here, but she knew she couldn't run. She had to face this. Somehow, she found a small table near the corner and sat down, placing her tray in front of her. Her hands shook slightly as she unwrapped her sandwich. She tried to focus on eating, to ignore the whispers, but it was impossible. She could feel the tension building around her, like a cloud that refused to dissipate. She looked up briefly and saw the popular girl standing near another table, laughing, with her friends clearly watching her from the corner of her eye. It was then that a boy sitting nearby leaned over and whispered, "Don't mind her. She's like that with everyone at first." His voice was quiet but reassuring. The new girl nodded, grateful for the small gesture. It gave her a little courage, a tiny spark of hope that maybe she could survive this first day without completely embarrassing herself. The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch, and the new girl gathered her things. She had made it through the first lunch period, and while it had been stressful, she had also proven to herself that she could handle it. She walked to her next class, trying to shake off the lingering fear. She reminded herself that she was smart, capable, and strong, and that one day, maybe even today, she could turn this place into somewhere she belonged. As she entered the next classroom, she felt a mixture of nervousness and determination. She found an empty seat near the back and tried to settle in. The teacher welcomed her warmly, introducing her to the class, and for a moment, she felt a small sense of relief. Some students nodded or smiled, acknowledging her presence, and that gave her a little confidence. She realized that not everyone would be cruel, and maybe, just maybe, she could find her place here. But even as she felt that small surge of hope, she couldn't shake the feeling that the popular girl was still keeping an eye on her, plotting. Something, waiting for the perfect moment to make her feel small. The thought made her tense, but she refused to show it. She straightened her back, squared her shoulders, and prepared herself for whatever came next. She knew that the day was far from over, and that surviving lunch was only the beginning. The real challenge was still ahead, and she was determined to face it head-on, no matter what the popular girl had planned. The rest of the morning passed slowly, each class feeling like a test she hadn't prepared for. The new girl did her best to follow along, taking notes carefully, answering questions when asked, and trying to keep a low profile. But it was impossible to ignore the occasional glance from the popular girl, who seemed to be observing her from across the room, her smirk never leaving her face. The new girl felt the tension in the air, a subtle weight that pressed on her, reminding her that she was still the outsider. During math class, she noticed the popular girl whispering to a couple of friends and pointing in her direction. They were passing notes back and forth, their eyes darting toward her every few seconds. The new girl's heart raced, unsure what they were planning, but she tried to ignore it, focusing on the equations in front of her. She had always been good at numbers, and this was something familiar she could hold on to when everything else felt uncertain. By the time the lunch bell rang, her nerves were frayed. She took a deep breath and carried her tray into the cafeteria again. The same buzz of voices, laughter, and clattering trays filled the room. She scanned the tables, hoping to find a friendly face or a spot to sit quietly. That's when she felt it, the unmistakable glare of the popular girl across the room. Her eyes locked on her, a sharp, calculating look that made her stomach twist. The popular girl had gathered a few friends around her, whispering and laughing, clearly plotting something. The new girl tried to focus on finding a place to sit, but it was almost as if the air had shifted, and every whisper in the room carried her name. She felt the weight of the stairs and the anticipation building, a sense that something was about to happen, and that she would be the center of it, as she approached a small empty table near the corner. The popular girl stepped in front of her, blocking the way. The new girl hesitated, unsure if she should push past or turn back. The popular girl leaned in slightly, her smirk widening. "Well, well, look who decided to show up," she said loudly enough for nearby students to hear. "I hope you're ready for a fun lunch, because we all love welcoming new people, don't we?" A few of her friends giggled quietly, and the new girl felt her cheeks heat up. She gripped her tray tightly, trying to stay calm. She looked around, noticing that other students were watching, some whispering to each other, some unsure how to react. It was clear that the popular girl had captured the attention of the cafeteria. The new girl was about to be put on the spot. The popular girl reached for the new girl's tray, pretending to inspect it. "Wow, that's interesting," she said with exaggerated surprise. "I've never seen someone pack their lunch like this before. Are you sure you know how to eat it?" She held up the tray, tilting it slightly, making the new girl worry that the food might spill. Some of the nearby students stifled laughter, while others looked away, unsure what to do. The new girl felt a surge of anger mixed with fear. She wanted to shout to defend herself, but she knew that reacting angrily might make things worse. Instead, she took a slow breath and steadied herself. "Yes, thank you," she said politely, keeping her voice calm. Her words were measured, but there was a quiet strength in them that surprised even her. The popular girl's smirk faltered slightly. She wasn't used to her targets responding with calm confidence. She exchanged a quick glance with her friends, as if trying to decide what to do next. The new girl seized the moment, placing her tray on the table and sitting down without hesitation. She met the eyes of a few students nearby, who nodded slightly, giving her a hint of encouragement. It was a small victory, but it gave her a bit of courage. The popular girl wasn't finished. She leaned in closer, lowering her voice so only the new girl could hear. "You think you can just sit here and blend in? Don't forget everyone knows you're the new girl, and everyone loves a good show." She straightened up and turned to laugh with her friends, drawing attention back to herself. The cafeteria seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The new girl felt her hand shake slightly as she picked up her fork. She reminded herself to stay calm and not give the popular girl the reaction she wanted. She focused on her food, taking small bites, pretending not to notice the whispers and stares. But the whispers continued, growing louder, and soon she realized that the popular girl was pointing toward her again. Laughing with exaggerated gestures, some students nearby started to giggle, unsure whether it was a joke or a cruel prank. The new girl's heart pounded in her chest. She had faced challenges before, but this was different. This was public, and the stakes felt higher. She felt a wave of fear, but underneath it, there was also a growing determination. She couldn't let this bully control her day, her confidence, or her sense of self. She remembered something her mother had told her before she left for school. People will try to put you down because they are afraid of you being yourself. Stay true to who you are, and they will have no power over you. The words echoed in her mind, steadying her nerves. She straightened in her seat, lifted her chin, and looked around the cafeteria as if to silently say, "I belong here too." The popular girl noticed the change in posture, the quiet confidence that began to shine through. She frowned slightly, her plan starting to unravel. The new girl's calmness was unexpected, and for a moment, the popular girl's friends looked uncertain, unsure whether to laugh, whisper, or stay quiet. The new girl could feel the shift, a subtle movement in the energy of the room. The whispers and giggles continued, but now there was curiosity mixed in, sense that maybe this new girl was more than she appeared. The lunch period continued with small exchanges. The new girl answered questions politely from a few curious classmates who dared to approach her. She smiled, laughed when appropriate, and engaged in short conversations. Each small interaction built her confidence. She noticed the popular girl watching, frustration beginning to show behind her carefully maintained smile. As the bell rang, signaling the end of lunch, the new girl packed up her tray and headed to her next class. She felt a mix of relief and pride. She had survived the first confrontation, and she had done it with dignity. She had shown that she wouldn't be easily embarrassed or intimidated. But she also knew this was only the beginning. The popular girl's eyes followed her. The new girl could sense that more challenges were coming. She walked to her next class with her head held high. The hallways were still crowded, but she felt a new strength in her steps. She reminded herself that she was smart, capable, and resilient. The first true test had come, and she had passed it with grace. The popular girl might try again, and there might be others who would make her feel small, but she knew she could handle it. She had already discovered that her courage and calmness were more powerful than the fear that tried to grip her. As she entered the classroom, she found a seat near the window and placed her backpack beside her. The teacher greeted her warmly, and a few students offered small smiles or nods. She felt a small sense of belonging beginning to form, a thread of connection that made the day feel slightly less intimidating. She realized that standing up for herself, even silently, had earned her the respect of some students and had unsettled the bully. The rest of the class passed with notes, questions, and discussions, but the new girl stayed focused, determined not to let anyone distract her. She knew that the popular girl would be planning her next move, and she was ready. For the first time that day, she felt a sense of control over her experience, a small but powerful victory. She understood that being new was hard, but it was also an opportunity to show who she really was, to demonstrate strength, intelligence, and kindness. And to prove that no bully could define her worth, the day moved forward, but the tension never left the new girl. She could feel eyes following her, whispers brushing past her like a wind she could not see. Every glance from the popular girl seemed calculated, precise, as if she were waiting for the exact moment to strike again. But the new girl had learned something important during lunch. Fear was only power if she gave it control. She refused to let it control her anymore. As the next class began, the teacher asked everyone to pair up for a project. The new girl's stomach knotted. She worried about who she would get paired with, but when she looked around, a few students nodded, subtly signaling that they wanted to work with her. She felt a flicker of hope and relief. Then she noticed the popular girl smirking, already plotting something. The popular girl raised her hand and suggested that she'd pair with the new girl, loud enough for the whole class to hear. Her tone was sweet, almost exaggerated, but there was a hidden edge. The new girl felt the unease in the room. Everyone knew this was an attempt to make her feel small. The new girl stood, trying to appear calm, and walked to the popular girl. She carried herself with confidence, even though her heart was pounding. She tried to show that she wasn't intimidated. As she sat down, the popular girl leaned closer and whispered something meant to be cruel. "I hope you can keep up," she said, a little too loud for it to be just a whisper. Her friends snickered quietly, watching the reaction. The new girl glanced at the project worksheet, then at the popular girl. She noticed that her supposed threat was empty. The popular girl was counting on her to panic, to freeze, to look embarrassed in front of everyone. But the new girl didn't panic. Instead, she smiled politely and said, "I think we can make this really good if we work together." Her voice was calm, steady, and carried a quiet authority. The popular girl blinked in surprise. No one had spoken to her like that before. The popular girl leaned back, trying to regain her smirk, but it felt forced. The new girl started contributing ideas quickly, clearly knowledgeable about the subject. She suggested ways to divide the work, explained her thoughts clearly, and asked questions that invited collaboration. The other students in the room started to notice. They looked up from their own work, whispering and exchanging glances. Realizing that the new girl was not just capable, but brilliant, the popular girl tried to interject. Offering suggestions meant to sound clever, but the new girl responded politely yet firmly, integrating the popular girl's ideas into a bigger, better plan. The other students leaned in, listening, impressed by her ability to think clearly and work calmly under pressure. Some of them even smiled at the new girl, nodding quietly as if to show their support. It was a small, subtle kind of recognition, but it meant more than words could say. By the time the teacher walked by, the new girl had taken the lead of the project without trying to dominate. She included everyone's ideas, balanced the voices in the group, and made sure that the popular girl's contributions were acknowledged. The popular girl's smile wavered. Her plan to humiliate the new girl had failed completely. Instead of embarrassment, the new girl had turned the moment into a demonstration of her skill and confidence. After class, the hallway was buzzing with conversation. Some students whispered about what had happened, amazed that the new girl had handled the situation so gracefully. A few others who had been hesitant to approach her earlier now found reasons to talk to her. They asked about her ideas, complimented her on her work, and laughed with her, not at her. The new girl felt a warmth in her chest that had nothing to do with relief, it was pride. She had faced a challenge and emerged stronger than before. She noticed the popular girl standing near her locker, talking to friends but glancing in her direction. Her expression was a mix of frustration and disbelief. The new girl didn't let it bother her. She had learned that power wasn't always about being loud or commanding attention. Sometimes it was about staying calm, thinking clearly, and showing true confidence. She walked past the popular girl, head held high, feeling lighter than she had all morning. During gym class, the popular girl tried another subtle tactic. She suggested a team game and deliberately put the new girl on a team that seemed weaker. The new girl felt a flicker of irritation, but didn't show it. She focused on the game, playing with determination and skill. She encouraged her teammates, passing the ball strategically and cheering when someone scored. The popular girl's plan to make her team look bad or make her feel small completely backfired. The new girl's team performed better than expected, and the gym echoed with cheers from the other students. Even some of the popular girl's friends started to notice that the new girl was quietly gaining respect. By the end of the day, the new girl had begun to understand a crucial lesson: confidence and composure could dismantle intimidation more effectively than anger or fear. She didn't need to fight, yell, or retaliate. She just needed to be herself, to show strength in her words and actions. Each small victory, whether it was handling a cruel comment, leading a project, or playing a game strategically, was a step toward earning the respect of her peers. As she packed her things to leave, she noticed a few students walking toward her. They smiled and said hello, introducing themselves and asking questions about her interests. The new girl felt a sense of belonging beginning to form. She realized that while the popular girl might try to control the social space, there were others who were willing to see her as she was, not just as a target. She left the classroom with a sense of accomplishment, her steps light and purposeful. The popular girl's eyes followed her, no longer smirking with confidence but narrowed with frustration. The new girl had turned the first attempt to humiliate her into a demonstration of her intelligence, calmness, and leadership. She understood that more challenges would come, but now she knew she could handle them. She had learned that true strength was quiet, composed, and unwavering. And for the first time that day, she walked through the school halls, feeling like she could truly belong. Not because she had conquered someone else, but because she had proven to herself that she could face any challenge with courage and dignity. By the next day, the new girl had started to feel more comfortable walking through the school. She still noticed the popular girl watching her, but the fear she had felt on the first day was gone. She carried herself with quiet confidence, greeting a few students along the way and answering questions politely when asked. Her presence no longer seemed fragile. It was becoming steady and noticeable in a positive way. During first period, the teacher assigned a group project that would last a week. The new girl was again paired with the popular girl, who seemed determined to make this an uncomfortable experience. Her friends watched closely, whispering and laughing occasionally, clearly expecting something to go wrong. But the new girl had learned from yesterday. She knew the popular girl thrived on reaction, on seeing others flustered or embarrassed. She wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. As they began the project, the popular girl tried subtle jabs. She would ask questions with a sharp edge, make comments that seemed innocent but carried a hint of criticism, and even roll her eyes occasionally when the new girl spoke. But each time, the new girl responded with patience and intelligence. She listened carefully, addressed concerns respectfully, and even complimented the popular girl when she made a good point. The other students in the group started to notice. They began to respond more to the new girl's ideas, asking for her opinion and showing signs of respect. By mid-morning, the popular girl's frustration was visible. She tried to regain control, but the new girl had already established herself as calm, capable, and confident. The group worked smoothly, with the new girl guiding discussions and organizing tasks in a way that made everyone feel included. Instead of embarrassment, she turned the interaction into a showcase of her leadership and intelligence. In the cafeteria at lunch, a similar pattern emerged. The popular girl attempted to corner her again, making a loud comment meant to attract attention and provoke a reaction. But the new girl simply smiled politely, responded with a witty but kind remark, and continued her conversation with a few students nearby. This small act of courage made a few students chuckle and others look at her with admiration. The popular girl's plan had failed once more. It was clear to everyone watching that the new girl wasn't easily intimidated. As the week continued, the new girl's confidence grew. She participated actively in class discussions, answered questions without hesitation, and even helped other students understand concepts they found difficult. Her ability to stay composed under pressure and her willingness to help others began to earn her a quiet respect. The popular girl's influence, which had once been strong, started to fade in comparison. The students around them were noticing a shift. The new girl wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. During a science experiment, the popular girl tried another tactic. She handed the new girl a piece of equipment and whispered, "I hope you don't mess this up. It would be funny if you did." The new girl took a deep breath and simply said, "I'll be careful. Thank you for the advice." She handled the experiment skillfully. Demonstrating her knowledge and precision, the other students watched closely, impressed by her competence. A few of them whispered compliments to each other, acknowledging her skills. After school, a few students approached her in the hallway, asking about the experiment and expressing interest in working together for the next class. The new girl felt a sense of belonging beginning to grow. It wasn't just that she had survived the bully's attempts. She was starting to be recognized for her abilities and her character. The popular girl noticed this too. Her smirk was gone, replaced by a look of frustration. The new girl had quietly turned the tables, earning respect not through confrontation, but through competence, kindness, and composure. By the end of the week, the new girl had earned a reputation among her peers. She wasn't just the new student anymore. She was someone who had proven her strength, intelligence, and integrity. Other students began to approach her more freely, inviting her into conversations, asking for help on assignments, and including her in activities. The popular girl still tried small tactics to undermine her, but the effect was minimal. The new girl's calm confidence and ability to lead had neutralized most of the attempts in the final class of the week. The teacher asked for presentations. The new girl and the popular girls group went first. The new girl spoke clearly, explained the project with confidence, and included all group members in the presentation. The popular girl had little room to assert herself, and the audience of students and teachers responded with nods, smiles, and even applause. The new girl felt a surge of pride. She had turned what could have been a moment of humiliation into one of success and recognition. After the presentation, few students approached her to say well done. They mentioned how impressed they were with her ability to handle challenges and lead the group effectively. She smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. She realized that standing her ground, showing patience, and remaining true to herself had not only protected her from humiliation, but also earned her respect and admiration. Walking out of school that day, she noticed the popular girl standing by the lockers. Her friends whispering and laughing, but it was different now. The laughter was quieter, the whispers less pointed. The new girl had shown that she was not a target to be bullied, but appeared to be acknowledged. She felt a sense of triumph, not in revenge, but in proving her worth and dignity. She understood that this was only the beginning. The school was still a place with challenges, and the popular girl might try again. But now she had learned something crucial. Confidence, calmness, and competence could turn intimidation into respect. She had discovered her own strength and realized that true power came not from trying to put others down, but from rising above attempts to make her feel small. With each step through the halls, she felt more at home, more in control, and ready for whatever came next. The new girl arrived at school that morning feeling a mixture of anticipation and calm, confidence. She had spent the previous week proving to herself that she could face challenges, and she now carried herself with a quiet strength. Even though she knew the popular girl would be watching, possibly looking for ways to undermine her, she felt ready. She reminded herself that she didn't need to fight back with anger or words meant to hurt. She simply needed to be herself. The first class of the day involved a debate exercise. Students were assigned sides and asked to present their arguments in front of the class. The new girls group was tasked with arguing a complex topic, and naturally, she took the lead. She spoke clearly, presenting points logically, responding to questions with patience and intelligence. The popular girl tried subtle interruptions, attempting to divert attention or make the new girl stumble, but each time, the new girl responded with calm, precise answers. Her composure was noticeable. The class began to lean forward, paying attention not just to her words, but to the way she presented herself. She had turned a situation that could have been intimidating into a showcase of her confidence and skill. After the debate, few students approached her quietly to compliment her performance. They whispered about how impressed they were, asking for her advice on preparing for future debates. She smiled warmly, grateful for the support, and offered encouragement. Even students who had been hesitant to approach her earlier seemed drawn to her now. She realized that respect was earned not through confrontation, but through consistently showing intelligence, patience, and kindness. During lunch, the popular girl made one last attempt to challenge her. She organized a small group around the new girl, trying to provoke a reaction with teasing comments and exaggerated gestures. But the new girl had learned from experience. She smiled politely, laughed lightly when appropriate, and included the students around her in conversation. She asked questions about their interests, shared a little about herself, and kept the energy light and friendly. The popular girl's plan fell apart. The students around them began to engage with the new girl, laughing and sharing stories, leaving the popular girl on the sidelines. The cafeteria echoed with a sense of camaraderie that had nothing to do with cruelty. By the end of the day, the new girl's reputation was firmly established. Students whispered about how she had handled herself, impressed by her ability to remain calm under pressure and her willingness to lead without dominating. She noticed students she had only seen from a distance, waving, smiling, or approaching her to say hello. It was a small but powerful shift in her social world. The popular girl's influence had diminished, not because anyone had humiliated her, but because the new girl had quietly earned respect through strength, intelligence, and kindness. As the final bell rang, signaling the end of the school day, the new girl packed her things and walked through the hallways with confidence. She saw students nodding, smiling, and greeting her warmly. She realized that the environment she had feared had begun to feel familiar, almost welcoming. Even the popular girl's friends seemed hesitant to approach with negativity. The new girl's calm strength had changed the dynamic, making it clear that she was not a target, but a peer to be acknowledged. Outside, the air was crisp and fresh. The new girl walked toward the school exit, feeling a sense of triumph and accomplishment. She reflected on the week, the moments of fear, the small victories, the challenges she had faced, and the ways she had responded. Each encounter had taught her something important about herself and about the power of remaining true, composed and kind, even in the face of intimidation. She had learned that courage was not loud or aggressive. It was steady, quiet, and confident. As she reached the school gates, a group of students from her classes waved at her, inviting her to join them for a small after-school activity. She felt a warmth in her chest, a sense of belonging she hadn't felt before. She smiled and accepted the invitation. For the first time, she realized that being new didn't mean being alone. By staying true to herself and responding to challenges with composure, she had built connections and earned a place among her peers. The popular girl watched from a distance, no longer smirking. Her attempts to undermine the new girl had failed repeatedly. She was forced to recognize the quiet strength that had won the respect of others. She had tried to control, to embarrass, to assert dominance, but none of it had succeeded. The new girl's intelligence, composure, and kindness had neutralized every tactic, turning potential humiliation into admiration. That evening, the new girl reflected on the week at home. She thought about the challenges she had faced, the moments of fear, and the ways she had grown. She realized that her confidence had not come from proving someone else wrong, but from proving to herself that she could stand strong, act with integrity, and remain calm under pressure. She felt proud of herself, not because she had defeated a bully, but because she had discovered her own strength and resilience. The story of that first week spread quietly among the students. Some whispered about how the new girl had handled the popular girl's attempts. Others shared her kindness and willingness to help classmates. She had become a symbol of quiet strength, someone who could inspire others without needing to dominate or confront aggressively. The respect she earned was genuine. It's based on who she was, rather than how she reacted to negativity. By the time the next week began, the new girl had fully settled into her school. She walked the halls with confidence, greeted students warmly, and participated actively in class. The popular girl's attempts at intimidation became rare, small, and ineffective. The new girl had established herself as someone not to be underestimated. Her peers looked to her with respect and admiration, not fear or hesitation. She had proven that courage, composure, and kindness could transform challenges into opportunities for growth and connection. In the weeks that followed, the new girl continued to excel academically and socially. She formed genuine friendships, collaborated effectively in group projects, and helped others when they struggled. Her quiet strength became a model for others, demonstrating that facing adversity with intelligence and composure could inspire respect and admiration. The popular girl's influence waned further, and the new girl's positive impact grew stronger. Looking back, the new girl understood that the first week had been a turning point. It had been filled with fear, tension, and uncertainty. But it had also revealed her courage, intelligence, and ability to navigate difficult social situations. She realized that true strength was not about retaliation or aggression, but about staying true to oneself, acting with integrity, and responding to challenges with calm determination. By the end of the term, the new girl had fully integrated into the school community. She had earned genuine friendships, respect from teachers and students alike, and a sense of belonging that went beyond the superficial social hierarchy. The popular girl who had once seemed untouchable had been humbled not by confrontation, but by the quiet, steady strength of someone who refused to be intimidated. The story of her first week remained a powerful lesson for both the new girl and her peers. It demonstrated that courage could take many forms, that respect was earned through integrity and competence, and that kindness and composure were often more powerful than aggression. The new girl had turned potential humiliation into admiration, fear into confidence, and uncertainty into belonging. As she walked home from school that day, the new girl felt a deep sense of accomplishment. She had faced challenges, overcome fear, and discovered her own inner strength. She knew that future challenges would come, but she was ready. She had proven to herself that she could face adversity with courage and grace, and that her actions could inspire others. For the first time, she truly felt at home in her new school, not just as the new student, but as someone who had earned her place, her respect, and the admiration of those around her. The weeks that followed the new girl's first challenging week at school were filled with new experiences, small victories, and deepening connections. What had started as a week of fear and uncertainty now blossomed into an opportunity to grow, learn, and inspire. She walked the hallways each morning with confidence, greeting familiar faces and even discovering new friends. There was no more hesitation in her steps, no quick glances over her shoulder. The popular girl's attempts to unsettle her had almost completely ceased, replaced by a quiet recognition that the new girl was not easily shaken. One morning, the principal announced a school-wide community project. Each class would be tasked with organizing an event to bring students together, foster teamwork, and promote a positive school environment. The new girls' class erupted in conversation, brainstorming ideas and debating what would work best. Naturally, the new girl was asked to help organize and coordinate, not because she demanded it, but because her classmates had grown to trust her judgment, calm leadership, and creativity. She approached the task thoughtfully. Considering everyone's strengths and opinions, she encouraged quieter students to share their ideas and made sure that even those who had once ignored or dismissed her felt included. The popular girl, who had once dominated social spaces, found herself participating alongside the new girl without the need to assert control. The dynamic had changed. The new girl's quiet leadership had subtly reshaped the social hierarchy into one where collaboration and respect mattered more than popularity. As they worked on the community project, the new girl encountered moments of small tension. Some students doubted certain ideas, others questioned the feasibility of plans. In each case, she remained composed, listening carefully, offering suggestions without dismissing anyone, and finding solutions that integrated everyone's input. Her patience and intelligence drew more students to her side. They began to see her as someone reliable, approachable, and inspiring, not just as the new student who had survived her first week. One afternoon, during a planning session in the library, the popular girl tried one subtle move to regain influence. She made a sarcastic comment about a proposed activity, intending to make the new girl appear indecisive or unsure. But the new girl didn't flinch. Instead, she calmly addressed the comment, acknowledged the perspective, and offered a constructive alternative. The other students nodded in agreement. The popular girl's attempt at dominance failed, just as it had before. The new girl's leadership was no longer challenged by intimidation. It was respected for its fairness and intelligence. The day of the community project arrived. Students, teachers, and even some parents gathered to see what each class had created. The new girls' class had organized a collaborative art and music event, showcasing creativity, teamwork, and inclusivity. She had coordinated with classmates to ensure everyone contributed. From students who preferred quiet tasks to those who thrived on performance, the result was a colorful, vibrant celebration that drew cheers, laughter, and admiration from everyone present. During the event, The new girl walked among her classmates, encouraging participation, praising efforts, and offering gentle guidance when needed. She saw faces lighting up with pride, students who had once been hesitant, now confident in their contributions. The popular girl participated fully and for the first time. Her presence was not about dominance or intimidation, but about collaboration. The new girl had not only earned respect, she had influenced a positive shift in the social atmosphere. By the end of the day, the applause and cheers were overwhelming. Teachers and students alike commented on how well the class had worked together and how smoothly the event had run. The new girl felt a surge of satisfaction and humility. She had taken her own experiences of challenge and turned them into motivation to create something positive for others. She realized that true influence came not from asserting control, but from guiding, listening, and empowering those around her. In the following weeks, the new girl's confidence continued to grow. She joined a few clubs, discovering interests and talents she hadn't had a chance to explore before. She built friendships based on shared passions, honesty, and trust. Some of the students who had initially been hesitant to approach her now sought her out for guidance, advice, and companionship. Her presence had become a stabilizing and inspiring force in her school community. Even the popular girls' attitude changed over time. She no longer attempted to intimidate the new girl or dominate social spaces. Instead, there were moments of quiet cooperation, mutual respect, and even laughter shared during group activities. The new girl had shown, through her consistent calmness, intelligence, and kindness, that leadership and respect were earned through integrity rather than fear. The new girl's growth did not go unnoticed by the teachers. They began to ask her for help in organizing events, mentoring younger students, and providing feedback on classroom activities. Each opportunity strengthened her confidence further, allowing her to see how far she had come from the anxious, an uncertain student who had walked through the school doors weeks earlier. One afternoon, during a school assembly, the principal invited her to speak briefly about her experiences as a new student and how she had navigated challenges. Standing on the stage, she felt a flutter of nerves, but she quickly reminded herself that she had faced far bigger challenges already. She spoke with honesty, sharing her journey, the lessons she had learned about courage, kindness, and resilience, and how even small actions could inspire respect and change. The students listened intently. Some nodded, others smiled, and a few whispered quietly to friends about how relatable and inspiring her words were. She realized that her experiences were not just her own. They could serve as guidance and encouragement for others facing challenges, whether from bullies, fear, or uncertainty. Her story became a quiet beacon of hope and confidence. After the assembly, many students approached her to thank her, share their own experiences, or ask for advice. She spoke with each one patiently, listening carefully, offering encouragement, and creating moments of genuine connection. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her actions and words had helped others feel stronger, braver, and more understood. Over time, the new girl's influence grew beyond the classroom. Clubs, events, and group projects began to reflect a culture of cooperation, respect, and inclusion. Students who had previously been excluded or hesitant now participated actively, inspired by the example she had set. The school community became more supportive, welcoming, and collaborative, a shift that began quietly but spread steadily. Reflecting on her journey, the new girl understood that her strength had never come from confrontation or aggression. It had come from courage, patience, kindness, and a commitment to being true to herself. She had transformed fear into confidence, hostility into collaboration, and uncertainty into belonging. She had learned that challenges were opportunities to grow and that even small acts of courage could inspire change. As she walked home one sunny afternoon, the new girl felt a deep sense of accomplishment and peace. She had faced challenges, earned respect, built friendships, and helped shape a more positive environment. She understood that life would continue to bring challenges, but she felt ready. She knew she could face anything with courage, composure, and kindness, and that her actions could ripple out, inspiring others along the way. Looking back, The new girl realized that her first day, once filled with fear and uncertainty, had been the starting point of an incredible journey. She had not only survived the attempts of a bully to embarrass her, but had grown into someone who could lead, inspire, and make a meaningful difference in her community. The journey was ongoing, but she faced it with confidence, integrity, and a heart full of hope.